I was told by my sister while I was pregnant, she was like, you should go on Teen Mom. And I was like, all right, I'll apply as a joke. At the time, we weren't really that problematic. So I was like, I'll do Unexpected because it's more toned down. So I thought. So I applied for Unexpected TLC. A couple weeks later, I got an email that they were going to like interview me and stuff. My mom thought maybe I'm getting scammed. And I was pissed because I was like, well, if it's real, they're going to get annoyed that we're asking so many questions and they're not going to pick us.
Hi, and welcome to Kouch Talk. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Emerson. And this is Kouch Talk.
Yeah, this is where we invite you in to our space and we chat about what we would talk about if you came over to my house and sat on my couch.
Pretty much,
yeah. So we would like to have you get to know us a little bit. Emerson, let's talk about how we met.
Well, I met Shannon through her son, which I am dating, and we have a baby together, pretty much. I got pregnant very early on in the relationship, and I think I met you over the phone, right?
I saw you in a video chat.
Yes.
Yes, we video chatted when you guys were on your little vacation up in the mountains. That was the first time I think I video chatted with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
That was the first time. I was a little bit nervous because I had talked to Mason before I talked to you. And the reason why, well, should we tell him why we talked on video chat?
Yeah.
Okay. I was in a place where I couldn't be seen in person. I was doing time. And my son, I talked to him on the phone and he told me on the phone that, he's like, I got my girlfriend pregnant, Mom. What do I do? What do I do? Can you tell Dad for me? And you got to remember, I got 15 minutes.
Only 15 minutes.
I had 15 minutes. And so I said, no, I'm not going to tell him in this conversation. I'll wait until we video chat for. And so the next phone call that same day, I told him and he was okay. It wasn't like the end of the world or anything like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
I was scared for him.
You were scared for Mason?
Yeah.
Really?
Just because I feel like Ernie would have freaked out a little bit on him. Just a little bit. Just because, it's unexpected news. Mason's a good kid, so my family expected it from me. But, I don't know. He's a good kid, so I don't think it was really expected at all.
Nobody expected it from Mason.
Yeah.
No, nobody did. So when we first met, so I know that there was a lot of like buildup. And we'll talk a little bit about this too, like the stereotype that happens when when you're dealing with people who are doing time. And there's a variety of reasons why, and we won't go into what my reasons are. But how did Emmy? I know Emmy never had any interactions with anything quite like that. So
no, not at all. Mason he would tell me, he's like, are you scared to meet my mom? I was like, no, I'm excited to meet her. And he's like, just so you know, she's really intimidating. Like, she's gonna intimidate you. I was like, okay. And you weren't at all. Like, it was fine. Like, you were really sweet. I think our conversations were pretty good. But I was a little nervous, obviously, because you're his mom. But
I never did ask you this, but I'm going to ask you right now. How did you feel when they were transporting me and you got to see me? I got to see my family like for 15 minutes while they were transporting me. They allowed me one visitation in person. And I felt like, because I hadn't seen anybody and I wasn't able to hug anybody for so long that
I didn't take it personally at all.
I was like, Mason was like, hey, here's Emmy. I'm like, hey, get out of my way. I gotta hug my kids. You know what I mean?
Don't worry.
Yeah.
I understood. It was fun.
Yeah. What were you feeling when?
I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for her. It almost made me cry because like seeing Jocelyn and John hug you was so cute.
That hug, I could still feel it. Like when I close my eyes, I could feel it.
It was the cutest thing ever.
And
then that lady was so mean. You really need all that stuff. I was like, oh my gosh.
I hadn't had any personal stuff like at all. They wouldn't let me have anything for the longest time. And so me having a little bit of personal stuff, I mean, it wasn't even a lot of personal stuff. Like
It was a lot of makeup. I remember they got
I
you
got
a lot
makeup.
of makeup.
I know. I was
There was the
yes.
table was filled, and we helped pack the bags and everything.
It was nice that they let me get some stuff from my family, though.
Yeah.
Like, that never happens.
Oh,
Like,
really?
oh, yeah. And the lady, I don't know if you heard her, she's like, they give you your stuff there. I'm like, no, I have it right here.
They
from the
didn't,
judge.
did they?
No, they limit everything. And even some of the stuff that I got, they took away.
Like what?
They took away the shampoo. They took away, you can't have anything that has like alcohol in it or anything like that. So the ingredients is like, it can't.
You're gonna go drink.
I'm gonna go drink my
for a
shampoo,
buzz?
man. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So that whole thing, like, I felt really bad because this was the first introduction. I know that I was like, can I touch your stomach? Because I hated it when I was pregnant with my kids, when people would just touch me. Like, I don't know you. Why are you touching me? So I was really grateful that you said yes, because I'm like, he hadn't heard my voice really.
Yeah.
You know? So I was nervous about, well, what's it going to be like? Because I was trying to get released in time to see the baby be born. Like, I wanted to be at least home by then.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So how did you feel though before you got there? Were you nervous? Had you ever been to a place like that before, where people are all locked up and
No, I don't think I have.
chains and transport? They didn't put chains on me that time though, so I was really good.
You're in shackles, like,
Yeah,
hey kids, give me a hug.
Really, seriously, that's how they usually transport you. But you know, I was really upset that morning because I was supposed to have an hour and a half with my family before I got transported.
Right, it was late, right?
And yes, and they wouldn't let me. The guard would not let me out. She's like, no, it's not today. They're not releasing you today. I was like, they are releasing me today. They are. I'm transporting
I would have had
today.
a panic attack.
But you know, it didn't really matter because I wasn't being released. You know, but
yeah,
that visitation time was so important to me before the transport. You know, and I really wanted a chance to meet you in person. I don't know why it makes him say I'm intimidating.
Yeah, he was like, she's gonna intimidate you.
No,
You're gonna be scared. It's like, okay.
No, I don't know how I feel about that.
No, but his friend decided hyped you up. He was like, yeah, she's actually the sweetest woman ever. Like, he really did hype you up.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
He's a sweet kid. He really is.
Yeah.
Most of Mason's friends are sweet kids. I don't think there's any of them that I really haven't liked.
I won't name anybody.
Well,
just because we're on camera.
Well, there's one brother of a brother that is a little problematic, but you know, you just kind of take the good with the bad. But
yeah.
So that was your experience with a felon.
Oh my god.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then that really like took off. It made it really hard. Like, I did end up getting released before Mateo was born.
Which is good.
Like, I made it, like, I got out the 17th and he was born on Father's Day. So it was like
the
3
day
weeks.
After, right?
Oh yeah, the day after.
Day after.
So it was like 3 weeks, but I still couldn't go see him because of COVID. And they wouldn't let me. But at least I had fresh air.
Yeah. But that was nice.
Yeah, that was nice. It's a little
clean bathrooms.
Well, you know, we don't need to talk about any more about that. But meeting you, I knew Mason had good taste. He's very particular.
Oh.
No, he is. He's very particular about who he spends his time with. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Which I'm surprised he actually started dating me, because I'm pretty out there sometimes. Like, when I get comfortable, my personality can get pretty big.
Pretty big?
Pretty big.
Well, I think you're comfortable, and I like your personality.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the next one. When I was still away, I was asked if I would participate with a TV show that you guys were going to be on. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I was told by my sister while I was pregnant. She was like, you should go on Teen Mom. And I was like, all right, I'll apply as a joke. But I didn't want to do Teen Mom because for me, it's just like a lot. I feel like there's more problematic stuff going on. And at the time, we weren't really that problematic. So I was like, I'll do Unexpected because it's more toned down. So I thought. But so I applied for Unexpected TLC, and couple weeks later, I got an email that they were gonna like interview me and stuff. It was exciting. And then my mom thought maybe I'm getting scammed. And I was pissed because I was like, well, if it's real, they're gonna get annoyed that we're asking so many questions and they're not gonna pick us. But they actually did, which is really cool. And then
Statistically, what are the odds?
right?
Statistically, right?
Right? I was like, we're pretty boring. Like, I don't know how they would pick us, but there was
We are not boring.
yeah, turn of events happened.
So they picked you, and then how did you find out that they picked you? Like, for sure that it wasn't a scam.
Right. My mom had them send selfies of them next to their ID. And then I don't know if she did background checks. She might have. But she asked for a lot of confirmation just to make sure. Verification. So then they said they were putting a story together to like pitch to the higher ups. And then I got contacted by some of the higher ups, and then I knew I was in. And then we had to do some psych tests. Tell us about yours, because mine was only 15 minutes. They were like, have you ever been suicidal? Have you ever... Do you think people are out to get you? No.
Yes, they are. They're coming for me.
That would be so funny.
So you want to hear about my psych test?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have just one. I had several, and I had lengthy conversations with the producer because, coming from where I was coming from, like they had asked me when I was still locked up if I would participate and sign a contract. And Mason said, "Hey, Mom, will you please do this for me?" And plus, I thought it was going to be a little bit different. Like we would all be able to tell a story, right? But it didn't turn out that way.
No.
Not at all.
Reality.
Yeah, it did not turn out that way at all. So I had said yes, and they said, well, it's contingent upon we have to hire a specialist, I don't know what you call her.
Psychologist?
Yeah, psychiatric psychologist or some specialist person. They flew her in from Colorado, like a long ways away, or Colorado or Chicago. She came a long ways to spend a lengthy 4-hour-long mental evaluation with me. I was like, and they interviewed my kids and everything about me.
Did your mom hit you?
I don't know everything that they said that they asked them, I don't know. But anyways, they ended up saying, okay, yeah, she's safe. And I don't know. I think it has to do with like my charges or something. They had to make sure. And
for sure. Then
the producer was like, hey, we just don't take offense to it. We just have to make sure that you're not a loaded gun.
No loaded gun.
Pun intended. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
do you get it?
I get it now. I mean, you'd think they'd want someone that's low-key a loaded gun based off the people they've picked,
Right, but
certain someone.
They needed to make sure that they weren't walking into a situation that they were filming they thought was unsafe.
Right, yeah, that's true.
So I can understand. Kudos to them for no safety measures. I don't take offense to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me tell you what, it was lengthy. I'm like, do you want me to cry at the end of this or what? Like, what are you trying to do here? Like,
what's the weirdest question they asked you?
If I had naked pictures on the internet.
Oh yeah, they asked me too.
Did they ask you that too?
Like, do you have any pictures online that you're scared someone might see? I was like,
no, they straight up said naked. They never even said scared that someone might see. I'm like,
maybe it's because I was a teen.
I was like, let me see what else. I don't know. They gave me like a million different like scenarios to go off of. Like, how would you react if this and this and this took place? Blah, blah, blah. Put yourself here. And then tell me how you would react to that. Stuff like that.
Did that. They did do probably like an hour and a half long though with my sister, who was on the show twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
She was pissed.
Oh,
she was like, I'm not even on the show.
Yeah, and then we had like a game plan of kind of like what my part was going to be in the show. And it didn't end up like that at all, because the whole thing was supposed to be about overcoming things in life, right? Like anytime I was supposed to be allowed to tell my story about overcoming. Instead, it just got highlighted of everything that's just bad. Instead of getting like an explanation. I don't have to explain it. I just have to say, I'm not in that mindset, like, where do you go from here? Because I think that, helping other people is fantastic. You take whatever bad, nobody's perfect. Absolutely not. And if you take whatever bad and, you live by grace, then you can help someone else. Right. So that was my whole intentions of like the whole thing. I really wasn't intending upon like
family drama.
Being in the middle of the family drama.
Ooh.
So how was that for you, Emmy?
Oh my God, it was so annoying because I didn't want to feel like, I knew I didn't have to pick sides, but I didn't want someone to like be like, oh, pick a side of the family. You know what I mean? Because I feel like family over here and, my family's over there too,
Why do you have to feel that way though? You have to elaborate a little bit because they don't know. We all know.
Well, there was some clashes between, some members of my family being a little judgmental towards this family. And it was just really annoying because I want to defend you guys because I know that it's not what they think. You know what I mean? So it's just like I was trying my best to like keep the peace like between both families. Like, Mom, it's okay, like she's not crazy. Like,
I am a little crazy, but not bad.
And it's like, oh, but she did drugs, she went to jail, she's probably on meds. And I'm like, well, it's not like she's a bad person. Like, she's court ordered to like have pills. Like, she can't not do that. It's probation, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's just like it's a stereotype of people who do drugs and stuff. And like it's just annoying because she follows that stereotype. And I'm not the type to do that because personally, like, I've done some stuff, and I'm not a crazy person. I was just living on the edge.
You were just having a little bit of fun.
Right.
Whereas I have to say I wish I was having fun when I was younger. Like, I wish that was the case and it just carried over. But that's not the case. I was sick and it started with the meds that they gave me. And see, on the show, I didn't get to really talk about that. The only part that they talked about, Mason had like a little tiny blurb and that got out, but it made me sound like I was just this, like, I'm going to go rob everything and for drugs and all this other crap. And that's not the case. That's not the case. Mine, I had no idea about drugs until after surgeries. And I had no idea. I did not know. And people would say stuff like, just stop taking them. Okay, well, if you're prescribed stuff for, months and months on end and multiple surgeries, and
I can understand
there is so many things. And then plus, drugs are not the problem. I'm just going to say it. I know everybody's going to hate me. They're going to hate me for this. It's not the problem. It's the solution that we pick for our problems.
Yeah.
You see? That's the problem. That's what we chose. Some people will, have ice cream. You see on TV where it's okay. Sally broke up with Ben and now she's sitting on her couch eating her, half gallon of ice cream. Okay, that's a coping mechanism, right? That's something that's the solution to their problem at that very moment. People stereotype and say, well, that's an acceptable solution. When really, no, it's not an acceptable solution. Dealing with your crap is an acceptable solution. Because what we pick is different. And then the other portion that I don't like is how everybody separates alcoholism from drug users.
Yes.
It's a drug. They're both drugs, okay? One could be legal. I mean, I could still be on, which I'm not on any meds at all, but I could still be on prescription meds today if I so chose it, right? Does that make me... So being addicted to those, even though they give them to me, it's legal, right? That's a legal drug addict right there. That's a legal drug addict.
Yeah.
Versus a legal alcoholic. What is the difference? You both use things to cope. Period.
Well, I think they make alcohol so accessible because it literally kills you, which means more money for the medical field.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Like
that's a fun one.
There's so many things to get into about that.
Oh, that's a fun one because... Oh, that's a fun one. Yeah, alcoholism is acceptable It's very acceptable. I mean, everybody knows don't drink and drive, right? But how many people go out, have drinks after work? How many people have, drinks before they go to bed, or they use it on the weekends? Oh, I can't wait. It's Friday night. Let's go out and get shit-faced, right?
And then like when someone gives money to a homeless person, they're like, oh, don't do that. They're going to use it on alcohol or drugs. But it's like you're doing the same thing when you're having a tired day. You come home, you just need a drink. What's the difference? You know what I mean? That's what makes me angry.
Well, one is legal and one is not. So people who can't afford the legal drugs, right, tend to, the prescriptions. And this is just an overview of just basic observation, I look at people. I was talking about this the other day to my boyfriend. I was like, look, so you get in trouble for being a drug addict, right? You destroy your life. You do. I'm not defending drug addicts by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not defending the behavior at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it takes time to reprogram your behavior. It really does. It really, really does. And there's a lot of other things that go into that. But so you go on, like, let's say a MAT, which is a medically assisted treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
All you did is replace those street drugs with prescription drugs that now Big Pharma makes money off of you. So now you are socially acceptable drug addict.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what you are.
Yep.
So really, I think it just boils down to society. And then people have the stereotypes that every drug addict is a thief. I've never stole anything from anybody in my life.
Yeah.
I don't steal. Never stole anything. So that's another stereotype that's horrible. I mean, people have gotten down to that point where they've just given up. They have nothing and they just don't care about anything. That's a whole nother toolbox,
Yeah, I noticed on TLC they really made it like clear that you were in jail for something. You know what I mean? They kept talking about it. Did they make you keep talking about it? Like,
well, we like when one of the producers was there, we did like a whole story, like my whole thing. And she's like, tell it how it is, tell it. And a whole day we filmed.
Yeah.
A whole day. Like we even went outside, we came back in. A whole day we filmed because I didn't want it to be left that, okay, that's just where I'm at. Because it made it sound like I was just recently clean and I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't just recently clean. So then everybody was just bashing me about, don't let that baby around her because, drug addicts, they relapse, they this and that. Okay, if I hadn't had a significant amount of time under my belt of being clean, maybe I can understand the bashing.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to tell the part of like how much clean time I've had, It's been years now. Yeah, they did it on purpose. So they really glorified the fact of trying to make it look like, oh, this is, some sort of scary stuff. Instead of, hey, my goal in my life, like at the end of the day, my dream of dreams, my happy place in the whole entire universe would be to open up a rehab that specialized in trauma that was accessible to everybody, not just people who have money, but accessible to everybody, because Dr. Gabora is the best. He's by far has the most comprehensive understanding of drug addicts, and it all comes from trauma. Same thing with people who have any excessive addictive behavior. Let me just say that. It stems from trauma and it's all related in one group. I mean, we like to separate and piece things out to what is socially acceptable and what is not. But until we understand what it is, we can't even begin to help, So in my heart of hearts, and I talked about that too, I was like, I really, really like hope someday that I'll be able to fill that dream, opening up a rehab that specializes.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, I know my boundaries. And so I would just be the founder of the place. I would not be able to work in the place.
Yeah.
Because I tend to help a little too much. And so I don't need codependency people on me, that's not healthy either.
Yeah.
But in my journey to try and turn everything into good instead of just bad, because it can be reweaved any way we want to at the end of the day.
It's true.
Yeah. So that's my take on that. I know it's lengthy and long. I get on these soapboxes, but
no, it's cool.
the big pharma companies just really irritate me. And what social acceptance is for one is not social acceptance for others. And if we don't have love and tolerance for one another, nothing good is ever going to come from anything.
Right.
And I felt horrible, just the crucifixion that you got for liking me.
Oh, I know.
You got crucified.
It wasn't
just for liking me.
anything new, though. I got crucified for freaking liking someone else, too. But we won't talk about that.
Well,
it's just annoying, but
I hope that things have settled.
Yeah, they've settled.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandparents are always saying that, like, if I ever want to visit them in Georgia, Mason's always welcome. Like, my grandparents love Mason, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Their grandparents are sweet as peaches, though. I met them. I just wanted to put them in my pocket and take them with me everywhere.
Oh, yeah, both of them.
They're sweet, sweet people. Yeah. So, well, and then we have, so we're a lot. So let's circle back around to the teen pregnancy part, because I know that they beat your mom up so bad about being a teen mom. And didn't even touch that I was way younger than she was when I had my first kid. Yeah. Like, I was a real...
What, 14?
Yes, I was pregnant. Well, I was pregnant at 14. He was born a week after I turned 15. So I spent most of my pregnancy 14, but I looked like I was 11. I looked really young. Yeah. And they didn't even show pictures of it because I gave TLC pictures of me when Brandon was born.
They showed one picture.
When Brandon was born?
I think so. I think they showed that picture.
Little tiny baby? No, I don't think they showed that one. If they did, I missed it.
Maybe that was my mom.
That was your mom.
Everybody thinks you guys are like secret long lost sisters. It's funny. I've just seen so many comments about that. You look like sisters.
Not in real life, we do not.
No. Anyways, continue.
So they beat her up pretty good over that, when actually they should have been probably beating me up really good over it, because I was way younger than her.
Yeah.
And me, like, the difference, like, we had just talked a little bit, and I don't think anybody's like really talked too much about the vague difference between my oldest is 32. So 32 years ago being a teen mom versus today being a teen mom. Huge, big difference.
It's a lot more accepted now.
It's not even that. Like, let's just go to the basics, like the medical field, I could not get medical. Like, I didn't see a doctor until 2 weeks before he was born.
So you didn't have any ultrasounds?
I had no ultrasound. I had no prenatal care because they wouldn't take me. I was too high of a risk. Like, I went in, I had a kidney infection, and I went in, and this one doctor, he's like, I didn't tell him I was pregnant because I needed medicine. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm sick. I'm not doing good. I'm really sick. And then the nurse was like, well, they give you, when was your last period? I'm like, 6 months ago. And she's like, could you be pregnant? And I'm like, yeah, I am pregnant, but I'm really sick. I'm really sick. Don't push me away. Don't turn me away. Don't turn me away. But they would not take you a high risk like they do now. And insurance, the insurance was crazy. So I had to apply for, and let me reverse it a little bit. So you have to be at least 16, at least back then. I don't know what it is now. It could have changed. In order to get on welfare or any medical assistance or any state assistance, you had to be 16 years old. I wasn't. I was 14. And so it was crazy. Like, it was crazy. There was no nothing. So I basically went in blind. Wow. I went in totally blind. And then I had found parents to put him up for adoption, which is a whole nother story all the way around. And I've told him this, otherwise I would never discuss this. But and that ended up falling through because I was a minor, not able to make my own decisions, still found under the guidance.
Well, hey, it worked out.
It did. But like the vast difference of how things are maneuvering through society, just even like survival was completely different. I was fortunate. I was very fortunate that there was some people in my life that made it so that I worked at my grandparents' restaurant, things like that. But had I not had that, I mean,
and there were Weren't they pretty mean to you during your birth? The whole thing?
Oh my gosh.
They were horrible.
They
to
wouldn't
you.
give me, because of how young I was, they would not give me an epidural or anything.
So it was all natural.
El natural.
Ooh,
Yes.
couldn't be me.
No.
I'm more modern.
I know, but it wasn't because I chose it. Because
Yeah.
and then I couldn't hold him. They didn't let me hold him. Like, I think
That would have killed me.
Yeah, they made me. I had to stay 3 days. Like now they like send you home. Like with my other kids, they just sent me home. But I had to stay 3 days, and then no, I stayed 2 days. I stayed 2 days, not 3. But I had to like watch videos and things like that before I could hold him. I was like, what? Like I had a little sister, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like I didn't have any experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, just vastly different. And I don't think that anybody knew that I was pregnant until like the very, very last month.
Really? You had a
Yes.
tiny bump?
Just tiny. Well, I weighed 100 pounds when I got pregnant, like 100. Well, no, I weighed 90. I weighed less than 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tiny.
So I think I weighed like 120, 9 months pregnant.
That's it?
Yeah.
I think I was 150. I was fat.
No, you were not.
I
But I was tiny. I mean, think about it. I went through like this growing spurt,
Mm-hmm.
like this huge, like that. It hurt so bad. Like I remember like my knees hurt me.
So you're going through a growth spurt too?
I had to do this growth spurt. I mean, how was I going to do it? So my body's like freaking out. It's like, like you're not going to make it, you know? But when I went to the store and stuff, I didn't go outside very often. Like I didn't go in public, like minimal. And I think that when I did go in public, people didn't know I was pregnant because I looked like I was like 11. You saw the picture. I looked like a little
baby,
a little tiny kid. So yeah. And the people who did know, I mean, it wasn't overly accepted either. I mean, my parents, won't talk about the parents thing. I could tell you my grandparents. My grandpa, I don't remember him saying very much on my dad's side. My grandmother, on the other hand, she had a lot to say about a lot. And I had to stay there for a little while, and like she would drag me into like Catholic mass. I don't know, ever been to a Catholic mass before?
I don't even know what that means.
So Catholic Church, Catholicism, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go in, instead of going into a church service, you go into mass, right? So you're going into mass. And I had to sit at the very back in the back corner.
You're pregnant?
Yes. Yeah. So, you know, the shame that you had to wear with that.
Yeah, but then like, every baby's a blessing, blah, blah.
Well, every baby is a blessing, but like they're thinking the moms are not.
Yeah, because it's a one-way street.
Yeah. So I'm happy that things have changed. I mean, I'm not going to get on my soapbox about all the other stuff that goes with that, but I'm glad that society views things much differently than they did then.
Yeah,
for sure.
If that was still happening, it would break me. That'd be bad.
It would break you? You don't think you'd be strong enough to handle that?
No, being like my baby, like being ripped away from me for hours until I finished videos.
Oh yeah.
Like that. Oh, well, this makes me feel sick.
Well, there was complications too. And so they kept telling me that they didn't know if he had, because his heart stopped, because it was all natural. It didn't stop for very long, but they're like scared that he might have brain damage. So they were giving observations. They're like, well, we don't know if his brain function is, you know, blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah. So the worry that I had and then not being able to hold him. And
that would drive me insane.
Yeah, it was a little bit much. But yeah, they were not nice. They were very mean. They were very mean. Very mean. It was like they punished me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My service was pretty good.
That's good.
Give me a yoga ball.
Did they?
Yeah, I sat in a hot bath for a good while until it was too unbearable. And then I woke up and they're like, after my epidural, they were like, Emerson, don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. And I was like, what's wrong? And I hadn't slept all night because of the contractions. And they finally, like, I just couldn't feel them anymore because of the epidural. Surprisingly. Because they said I'd still feel pain, but I didn't feel a thing. Which was weird. So I fell asleep, and then I woke up with a bunch of doctors telling me not to go back to sleep. So apparently, like, it, like, raised my heart rate or the baby's heart rate or something.
Mm.
It was really weird. It was fine, but I wanted to go back to sleep. I was low-key pissed. I was really pissed.
That's nice. That's how Brittany was. Like,
really?
But nobody was waking me up because something was wrong. It was just like I got an epidural early because the hospital was full. So they didn't want it. They knew I was in labor, but I was early labor. And they're like, okay, let's get you an epidural because the hospital's full. We're gonna give you this last bed because we know you're gonna be back.
Yeah.
And then it was in a fancy hospital. Fancy hospital. And so I really enjoyed that one. And they woke me up. Hey, it's time to wake up and finish now. I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. It was good.
That's nice. You didn't feel the contractions when they had? I didn't do that next time.
Yeah, I did not feel that. I didn't feel anything. But I can tell you that it was a mean trick because imagine, okay, so your body's designed, right, to slowly, progressively feel pain, right? So it's slowly feeling pain. Now, when that epidural wore off, I was like, whoa, what happened to my body? Yeah. When I was asleep. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a mean trick, so I don't recommend that. But yeah, so I'm glad things that have changed so much since the time I was a mom and, first time, and you a first time mom. Yeah. Do you feel like you get enough support? Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah, you got Grammy. Got a lot of support. Yeah. All of his grandparents are very generous to him with everything. And me, so it's nice. Yeah, very good. Well, I guess, I hope you got to know us a little bit more today. And I hope you enjoyed our conversation. We plan on having some fantastic guests. Some of our topics in the future are going to be women in construction, which is a fun topic. Yes, that's coming up. And then also, what else do we have coming up, Abby? We're talking about that new series that came out, Jeffrey Dahmer. Ooh. And how we feel about that and like what goes on mentally. Yeah. So we have lots to come. I can't say all my guests yet, but I have quite a few people who are like lined up to give us some good chit chat on the couch. Yeah, like let us know if you want us to talk about anything more in depth on TLC or just anything, honestly. Yeah. Yeah. We take we have no politics. We don't talk politics. Damn it. I know. Just kidding. And we are okay. Emmy is okay if she disagrees with me, and I'm okay if I disagree with her. Pretty good. Yeah, we're all good. So I hope you enjoyed. Come back and see us. Bye. Bye. I'm done.